Hey all, I thought today I would share with you an experience I had in the 70s which changed the course of my life pretty seriously in a good way, although it didn't always feel good at the time. But back in, I want to say 1976, 1975, thereabouts, I needed a lot of dental work. We had just moved to Germantown, PA, and a new friend recommended a dentist to me, Harry Levine. And Dr. Levine, he had nitrous oxide, and I was kind of a chicken when it came to dental work. I just didn't like getting it, but my teeth really needed it at that point. And so I made an appointment with Dr. Levine, and my mouth needed all kinds of work, so I started treatment with him. And the very first time, he gave me some nitrous oxide because I was such a chicken. And I was not used to taking any kind of drugs in those days, and I paid very strict attention to the effect that the nitrous had on me. I think the idea was to relax me or to, I don't know whether it was supposed to knock me out. I think it was just supposed to take away the fear. But what I noticed, the first thing that I noticed was the music came to me in waves. I could hear each wave of music coming, and I thought, wow, that's really interesting. Does that mean that my mind is speeding up so much now that I can hear each wave as it comes in? And then gradually I kind of lost focus of the dentist office and the surrounding, and all of a sudden I found myself as a consciousness inside my body, and the body was just pure energy. There was no solid, tangible, physical thing there. But if you could imagine like a school of tiny little fish swimming in unison, this is kind of the way the units of energy were moving around in me, with each system being like its own group of fish swimming in there. But I'm not trying to compare energy to fishes, just to give you an idea that there's this constant sense of motion and cooperation. All of these schools were cooperating with each other to make up all the different organs and systems. It was the most amazing thing I had ever experienced. And I had gone to the dentist as an atheist. I just really thought life sucks. The amount of anger and hatred and horrible things going on the planet at any given time, it can be extremely overwhelming. And so I went into this nitrous oxide. I had this experience of seeing the body as pure energy. And once you've had an experience like that, there's no going back. You can't ever say you didn't see it, you didn't feel it, you didn't experience it. And so I came away from that first nitrous oxide dental experience. My atheism was gone. I realized that there was something much bigger in the universe. And there was something beautiful. So subsequent trips to the dentist with the nitrous oxide started to open up other dimensions to me every single time that I went. And during the course of a few months, I got to experience a lot of different teachings. There was no one else that I saw speaking to me, so I assume it's telepathy. I didn't know what guiding source was providing the information. I'm assuming some aspect of myself, my higher self, that could finally get a hold of me long enough to talk to me. When usually, I had my mind full of all the different things that concern us all. Making a living, taking care of the child, checking on the cars, making sure you have oil going through the engine. All those things that just take away the moments of our lives. And here I was under nitrous oxide, and my higher self, I guess, had the opportunity to instruct me. And it was amazing teachings, and I wrote about that in my autobiography, It Takes Many Lifetimes. And up until that time, I had never heard of William James. He was a philosopher and psychiatrist. He was Harvard educated. He lived in the late 19th, earliest 20th century. And he was an amazing proponent of nitrous oxide. It opened up other dimensions for him as well. And of course he wasn't the first, he wasn't the last. I don't really know how it works, why it works. On some, I asked all of my friends, has this happened to you on the nitrous oxide? It didn't. None of them said, yes, I had that experience or something similar. So those of us who are into the Seth material, that's SETH, and Jane Roberts' books, we know about the Oversoul 7 series. We know about the Museum of Time, right? Oversoul 7 and the Museum of Time, which features a dentist that likes his nitrous oxide. And I mean, it's a funny story in the book, but in the 60s and 70s, dentists using nitrous oxide without supervision ended up killing themselves. It wasn't that they were suicidal, it's that if you don't monitor the use of that, it can be extremely dangerous. And that's why nowadays, when you go to the dentist and you get nitrous oxide, you get a whole lot of oxygen in with the nitrous. There's no turning back the chair and adjusting your levels, which is what was, you could do that back in the 1970s, right? And that is no longer the case. So I'm not encouraging anyone here to sniff nitrous oxide or to use it without supervision. I know many of us on the planet are looking for ways to get more, deeper, better, closer contact with higher selves. And I think that is what drugs or alcohol are often all about. You're trying to get a deeper connection with something that's important to you. And of course we're supposed to do that by being with ourselves. And if you can be with yourself and be happy with yourself and enjoy all the little things that come your way, you probably don't need to be sniffing nitrous oxide anyway, right? Anyway, that's just a part of my story. It got really, really interesting for me, and I did write about it, so I'm not going to talk about it today. I may in some future video. Wishing you all a pleasant Saturday afternoon, and hope people are recovering on the East Coast. All right, ciao.